After this UK trip, Meghan and Harry are going to Nigeria on tour. What is that all about?
So they've been invited by the Nigerian military as part of an Invictus Games. You know, Nigeria has the largest military on the African continent. About 30% of non-active personnel are women. They did send some athletes to the Invictus Games last time it was held. So they do have some sort of relationship with the Invictus Games, which is obviously Prince Harry's beloved project. There are rumors that the couple will engage in some sort of cultural activities, which is to be expected. You know, you don't fly all the way to Nigeria just for this one thing. I'm sure they want to get stuck in. There's a bit of concern though that will they overstep the mark and kind of act like faux royals and undertake this kind of faux dignitary role or like ambassadorial role that's usually reserved for the royal family, understandably so, and King Charles as the head of state. We don't know. This couple they're quite interesting because they tend to not necessarily engage with the royal family, so understand that the nuances of how to really deal with foreign dignitaries and how their behavior would impact the United Kingdom. The royal family are not just, you know, the royal family. They're also the head of an institution that represents many countries as well, and their actions unfortunately does have an impact there. But because it looks like they're going uniquely in the capacity of the Invictus Games, there shouldn't be too much controversy there. It looks like they're trying to successfully rebrand themselves as some sort of influencer couple, which is probably the only option that they have left. Like I said, they're not, you know, chemists or surgeons or people with any kind of professional background. Harry was a prince his whole life, and Meghan was sort of reasonably successful actress and in her own right, but you know, it's not a set of expertise or skills that you can bring. She's not an opera singer or a ballet dancer, for instance. So really their only option are to be influencers, and I think that's probably what they're going to focus on, whether, you know, it's as dignified as being working royals or not. But with the visit to Nigeria, there were concerns, like I said, about kind of ruffling a few feathers, but I think because of the capacity they're going into, it's probably reasonably safe.
Now, an interesting claim this week that the royal family rift is causing a damaged generation of monarchy. Take a look at this.
You know, as children get older, they get more curious about their family, don't they? Why haven't I met my cousins? Why haven't I met my uncle and his wife and all of that?
Absolutely, and hopefully it will be the children that mend the relationship, because obviously they want to see each other, and it will be really, really sad for that not to happen. In fact, it will sort of be like a damaged generation, really, if something doesn't work out.
Esther, do you think that's a fair observation? Or perhaps do you think that some of the damage from the last generation is partially the cause of all this?
I think that's a fair allegation, and I think that's something that I've been very vocal about. That's what concerns me. You know, you have Lilibet and Archie taking their titles, basically their parents insisting that they be given the title of prince and princess, and yet they have really no significant ties to the royal family in any meaningful way. They just happen to be the children of, you know, the king's son. And so you're questioning why did they do that, especially because they've been so vocal about their grievances within the institution and with the royal family at large. And you know, I don't think this is one of those things that can actually be mended by the children. Like I've mentioned before, I think this rift is just going to calcify, and it's because above everything, the trust has been lost. The trust has been broken. You know, any kind of relationship that the Sussexes will now want to have with the royal family will try and look like they're weaseling their way back into relevance. You know, the whole Netflix thing and the Oprah interviews, them kind of blowing the lid off this whole institution has really just not only not endeared themselves to the public, but also has completely destroyed any hopes that Prince William and his family and the king and the queen particularly can even trust them. I mean, Harry revealed some very, very uncomfortable details about his relationship or his feelings towards Queen Camilla, towards his sister-in-law, that the public was under the assumption that they had a good, close relationship with. He also showed a lot of immaturity and lack of judgment in his actions, and you just can't be of that character and have any sort of meaningful relationship with the royal family. And I think those accusations extend as well to Meghan, although Meghan is, you could say she's a bit more forgived because she didn't grow up in the royal family. She's American. She may not understand the institution. I think Prince Harry really didn't prepare her very well. He just kind of shoehorned her into the institution. You had the likes of Princess Catherine, who was with William for 10 years. They dated for 10 years. She was in her 20s. She knew the kind of transition she would have to make if she chose to go on this path. I think it was even harder for someone like Meghan, who was in her late 30s when she met Prince Harry. That transition would have been even more daunting because she's a grown woman who's had a life. She's been married before. And I think Prince Harry made no accommodation for that. And I think just their actions within the institution has really not endeared them to the public at all. So unfortunately, the kids have to bear the brunt of this. I think their titles are utterly meaningless unless, the Sussexes are planning on doing something even tackier, like capitalizing on their children's titles, which wouldn't be sort of out of character. But again, it's very vulgar. It's something that the British people don't appreciate because, yes, the royal family are people, but more than that, they're an institution and they represent something to the UK. And to just have their titles almost prostituted in this way is quite insulting.